Hi, you no doubt have heard quite a bit about local government reorganisation across the country. 14 areas are under consideration, but the one that interests us, of course, is the one that's happening here in Suffolk. And basically, you may recall that the interim plans were laid in March of 2025. Full proposals were made by the County Council for one and the districts and borough for three. And those full proposals were lodged in September 2025. Consultation then took place between November 2025 till January 26, and the decision on which would be the preferred option for Suffolk was made in March of 2026, and the decision was case for change, 3 councils for Suffolk. So Bernard will show you where those geographical areas are. And that is the decision. So fundamentally, we're now moving towards how that decision will be implemented. And basically, there's a whole stack of work going on across the county council, the district councils, the boroughs. They're actually working very hard to ensure everybody's in the loop. Local plans under renewal, etc., etc. So there is a huge amount of work coming down the line. Now, what was decided for Suffolk particularly is that we would have 3 unitary councils. And what that means is that there will be a significant reduction in the number of councillors representing you. So it's less representation for the same money, if you like. But what will now be happening once the unitary election has taken place is you will have 1 councillor representing about 4,000 citizens in all issues concerning local government. That's for waste, that's for sport, that's for health provision, education, the whole bit. So quite a big task in hand, and it is stated by central government that the probable cost of doing the conversion across 14 different districts will turn out top whack at £644 million over that period of time. So what will happen is there are going to be a number of joint committees set up for each of the 3 new areas. In ours, which is Ipswich in South Suffolk, and that name, by the way, can be changed by the new unitary authority as and when it gets elected. So if you have an issue with that, make representation going forward in debate. But there will be 64 councillors elected, and that will be across 40 wards, with 24 of those wards having a 2-member ward. So not that dissimilar to what we already have happening. Now, what happens, the way that this is configured is the government itself has got to present a thing called a structural change order, and that is to be presented into Westminster in the early summer, and it's thought that that should be approved somewhere in the autumn, sort of October time. And then we will be moving towards the election of a shadow authority, which will be taking place this coming May. So if you're very keen to stand, prepare your presentation and how you think things will be. And effectively, the shadow authority will run with the existing boroughs and districts. And then elections will take place in April. Well, it's not really election, because in April 2028, that's an extra year for all district and borough councillors. They will cease to be, and the shadow authority will become the new unitary authority, which will deliver all of the services within their unitary area to you, the citizen. So hopefully that helps a bit. So the key point is structural change laid in the summer, and then that comes into force in 2026. Just one highlight to add to the confusion in Suffolk is that the new elected county council has brought a judicial review against the decision made by the government, and their checks or their claim is the legitimacy of the modification made to affect the boundary changes and the government's reasoning in adopting the three unitary councils approaches. Now that is still at the point of being heard whether they can be granted a actual judicial review. That decision, I think, it should be expected shortly, but from a point of view of what's being delivered across the councils themselves, they are all working, I was going to say hand in glove, but they are being basically a duty to cooperate, and that's what they're doing. So we'll keep you in the loop, let you know more as and when these events take place. Nice speaking with you, have a lovely summer. Bye for now.